Hello there survivors, and welcome back to another build tutorial in ARK Survival Ascended. Today I'm showing you exactly how to build the Jurassic Park Raptor Paddock or the Raptor Pen. Perfect, of course, to house your own raptors or similar sized creatures. There's actually two ways to build this. One way is completely without needing any mods and without needing any skins, just using stone and metal structures. You can easily get this done, so that means that you can also build this on official settings. But then I've also made a variant with the bunker structure custom cosmetic, which is a premium cosmetic, but definitely well worth it if you're into Jurassic themed buildings. Besides being an amazing bunker structure mod with cool concrete textures as well as awesome looking metal ones, especially since it has combinations with overgrown variants as well, they now added some Dino Park related stuff, which includes cool signs, warning signs, and these fences that definitely give heavy Jurassic Park vibes. So yeah, kind of is the perfect fit. So you can kind of pick and choose which one you want to use, which variation of the build you're gonna go for. But as always, if you enjoy seeing these build tutorials and you want to see more, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and feel free to leave suggestions for future builds you'd like to see down in the comments below, maybe specifically ones from Jurassic Park or the Jurassic World movies. Alright, we'll start out with a foundation, of course, and the foundation is actually rather simple. All we need to do is get a little 3x3 down, which is going to be the foundation for the tower at the back of the building. And from there, we're going to start adding all the walkways in, etc. So we want to start with a ceiling right in the middle to the side. Then we want to have 3 more just like this, and 2 more like that. This one we can bring all the way over to the other side as well, and then we can repeat that process. So it's kind of going to look the exact same. Then over here we want to add some metal pillars in these corners, just like that. And then we can add 1 triangle ceiling here. We want to add another pillar right on that corner. We can then make sure that we go out by 3 in total, or at least 3 here on the outside. That's the ones we will be counting. So that's what we want. Then we need another pillar. Then we'll continue just like this and make sure that we have another 3 of those on the outside. And we'll repeat that once more. So 3 more here on the outside, another pillar. And then the 4th and final one will be this one right here. We can add pillars in these spots, and then we want to add 1 right over here for now. So that's going to be the walkway on one of the sides. And then of course we want to do the exact same thing here on the opposite side, starting with adding in these 3 pillars. Then we can of course start with our triangle, add the pillar right to that corner as well, and then the same principle is going to start. So 3 of them here on the outside, then a pillar. Then we can continue this once more with another pillar here. So that's 2 sections. We'll continue a little bit further, add another pillar in, and then we'll keep this going until we're right here, of course, the final pillar. So now we have 4 of these sections of the triangles, and then 1 more full ceiling right there, and we can have 1 pillar in that corner too. Then what we want to do is take out the ceilings again, add 3 of them right over here, 3 of them right over there, and then on the outside here we can add stone pillar there, stone pillar there, same thing over here, adding those pillars into those corners. We can then also bring out a beam going across the sides of this part of the build, just like this, adding in these ones as well. We then want to take out the walls, add 1 wall here on the end, along the side there, and here on the front as well. So we're doing the same thing for both sides here. Then what we want to do is add in some quarter walls up like that, same on the other side, and of course here too, so that we can bring this all up like that. We want to take out our beams again and want to have a little quarter beam along the bottom edge that continues just like this. We can then, of course, also take out our full beams and connect these parts back up again. So the half beams and then connecting these sides with each other, which also means that we can have pillars underneath those corners for more support and also just to complete that look. Then we want to take out our slope wall. We want to have one leading into these quarter walls. So for all of those, we want to add those in. Then here at the back, we can take out our stone roofs and add 3 of them just like this. The other side, the same thing. Then we'll take out our quarter ceilings and we can fill in the top of this part of the build. Same thing here on the other side. There we go. Then we want to take more quarter ceilings. What we want to do is right along here, we want to cross around like this. Then we want to have 2 full ceilings behind that. We can take out our stone ramps, have one leading into the pen and one here at the front. That's going to be the actual entrance. And then along the side, we of course want to fill in our walls all the way so that this structure is complete. We also want to make sure that we have the walls filled in underneath here. So both a quarter wall and a full wall is what we want to add there. Same thing under here. You might not be able to see it very well, but we want to make sure that the walls are completely filled in. So there's no little gaps hiding anywhere that you might be able to spot. So filling in all the little gaps around this structure wherever we have them. And then of course this wall here we definitely also want to fill in. So that's already making the entrance take shape a little bit, and basically that is where your gate is going to be. Actually, we can take out our metal gate. We can snap that right there in the middle, which will be the entrance to the pen. And of course, we want to make sure that it looks like that is properly secured in there. And then for additional details, you could have some spotlights on top of these for sure. Then here along the side, we actually want to take out our metal stairs. We want to add some on that corner. We want to add some here on this corner as well. And pretty much we're going to do that on all of these corners. So we just want to go around the build and add in these stairs to each of these triangle corners there as a nice way to get into the build. All right, we want to take out more stone pillars, and here in between the metal pillars, we're actually going to add some stone ones along the entire side. Then we'll take out our stone beams as well, and we'll add a bunch of those in too to make this look a little bit more supported like that. Then we want to take out our stone railings and add them underneath these sections to again increase those details a bit more. And we want to do that all the way round like that. And then on top of that, we actually want to take out our metal railings, so we can add those in. We can add them alongside the staircases, and then we can go all the way across until we meet the end, and then we can add more railings in and have another railing right over there as well. We can of course repeat that process here on the other side. So first of all, adding in these extra stone pillars, changing to the stone beams to go around it all just like that to make it look a little bit more supported all the way through, and then adding in our stone railings underneath these sections as additional details all the way along the side of the building until of course where we meet up with the tower, and then the metal railings on top just like that to really make sure that we have these walkways in the proper place. Careful not to accidentally replace the stone ones. That's definitely not what we want to be doing. There we go. So that is making the walkways feel a little bit more complete already. All right, then the inside here, we're going to also add some metal pillars on these sides. We can do them every 2. So just like that. We'll do the same thing over here, adding in those extra supports just like that. And then here on the inside, we want to go in by 2. We want to go in by 2, and then the middle is going to be 3 wide. We want to take our stone walls, and we actually want to make sure that we add a layer of them right here to really make very sure that this entire perimeter and paddock and dino pen, of course, is shut off from the outside. So even small creatures like maybe compies and stuff can't accidentally, you know, make their way inside for some reason. So we want to make sure this is very secure, of course. So just gonna fill this all the way in like that. There we go. And that is the first layer done. Then what we want to do is take out our stone quarter walls, and we want to raise up this ledge. So basically we'll go around the entirety of the walkway, add in the quarter walls to raise up this division, and try not to place them anywhere where we don't want them. Just continue this all the way through. And again, this is to make sure that we have a little bit of a division between the walkways and the actual pen, because of course we're basing it off Jurassic Park, so we need to make sure that this is a very secure facility and the raptors can't find their way out, of course. So we'll just go all the way around like this to get to a decent height. Then what we want to do is take out our quarter ceilings and actually follow alongside that ledge all the way around again. So we'll just slowly but surely make our way all the way around again, because this is going to basically allow us to get a nice border wall in before we start working on the actual fences themselves. There we go. So we'll just make it all the way through. There we go, all the way to the end, and then we have a nice border wall all the way complete. Then we want to add in some more metal pillars. We want to start in this corner, and then again every other 2 we should try and add a pillar. Well, actually every other 4, of course, because we used quarters, but basically lining up these pillars with the ones that we've used before. And depending on your landscape, you might have to add an additional pillar below this one, of course, to make sure that they are not floating. But yeah, in general, we can just go around like this and line them up with the other pillars that we placed before, just like that. And we actually also want to add one right on the corners of these. Then we can take out our quarter walls to fill in that section here, as well as this section there. Same thing over this side. Want to make sure we fill those all the way in. And then, of course, the other sections, we can use proper walls. For this one, you'll have to still fill up a little gap with the quarter wall, but every other one should just be 2 full walls lining up with each other all the way through. And then, of course, here at the end again, we need to fill up one section a little bit. Same thing over here. And then we can start to fill in all of these sections. Quarter walls, back to our full walls, all the way across to the other side. And then the last one, we fill those quarter walls in again. So now it feels like we have a strong foundation for this wall to make a secure facility right there in the middle. And to start that, we're going to take out our metal railings, and we're actually going to add a railing all the way across from one side to the other. So we want to make sure that we add those in already all the way across. Oh, let's not overlap any. parts in here. So we just want to bring this all the way across, just like that. So that's the start for the actual raptor pen, but because there's actually two ways to build this one. There's, of course, using the bunker cosmetics that I used as well. I definitely recommend using those because the Dino Park skin that is in there is, of course, made for a build like this. But there's actually also definitely a way to do this with vanilla structures so that it look nice without using any cosmetics or using some free cosmetics, whatever you prefer. But before we get to that part, because that's quite different ways of doing it, we will build the tower at the back first, because that is kind of still the same for both ways. So to get started with the tower, basically what we want to do is make some doorways on both sides, so we have the entry points in place. So first of all, we want to then add in the doors, of course. I like the metal look for this. Feels a little bit more secure than others. Then we can take out our pillars. We actually want to add 6 pillars in total. So it's going to be 6 high on each of these corners. So just like that. Just adding them in for all of these. There we go. And of course, the ones here on the back, on the outside, we want to make sure to connect them to the ground. Looks a little bit better than keeping them afloat. Then for the walls, we're actually going to keep it quite simple for this tower, because that's the way it is in the movie. So we're kind of just going to fill this almost all the way up. You can actually also fill in this top layer here, and then just these ones are going to be windows. If you're going to use the bunker cosmetics, you can actually keep these as full walls and use the skin to get windows instead, but otherwise you'd want to do this. Then the other side of the building is pretty much going to be the same thing, so we can add those in, and then we can just kind of start filling in the rest of the wall all the way. So just like this, and yeah, we have 2 of the walls completed. And then for official without skins, we can just use some greenhouse glass as the windows. But as I said, for bunker, you just want to use a full wall and change it into the variant with a nice window. Here on this side, we're actually going to continue these windows in the same spots. So we want to add those as well. And then, of course, we can instantly also add in the actual windows themselves. Again, bunker cosmetics, just using full walls. We can, of course, then fill in the top of this. We want to start just going all the way down, except for this second layer. So we can fill in the bottom here, leave that layer open for now. We'll do the same thing here on the back of the build. So we'll leave those layers open and build it all the way up. Here along the side, we want to have some quarter walls for both of those sections, basically to make sure that we can line up a window in the middle. Now, again, for the bunker cosmetics, you're going to turn a full wall into a skin, and there's a few good windows options there. But otherwise, of course, we're just going to do it with greenhouse glass. And then at the sides, we probably want to add in a pillar, especially for vanilla. Maybe for the bunkers, you don't actually need that. Then what we want to do is add a half pillar on top of those. So we want to do the same thing over here. Then we can take out our roofs, and we actually want to go to the quarter roofs and add one of those right above here as a little detail. And then the same thing over here on the other side, snapping them to those half pillars and bringing them across to just add a little bit of a window in, a little bit of a detail in. I didn't do this when I used the bunker cosmetics. I just used the nice clean window design because they already add some 3D effects, and there's some other skins that you can add as details. I will show those at the end when we do the tour of the 2 builds. Alright, then here on the inside, of course, we also need to figure out a staircase. We actually want to start that right from here. I'm going to use metal for this because it feels a little bit more appropriate. Then we're going to go right over here. So it's a 1 step up, and then we have another step up right here. We can then actually bring this all the way across like that. We'll have another staircase up, another platform here, and one more to go up to this layer. Then this layer Then this layer we can actually fill in a little bit more. We can actually go all the way like this, and over here is where the next staircase is going to start. So we'll have that leading up like this all the way to the top. And of course we want to make sure that we add in some railing in certain spots so that we feel a little bit safer whilst going up these stairs, just like that. And you could of course use the smaller stairs, but I kind of found it fitting in this tower to just have nice big stairwells. Feels a little bit more appropriate, of course. And then all the way here at the top, of course, we can continue to fill in this entire platform. We can then take out our railings, add it around where the staircase leads up so we don't have any accidents. Then we want to take out some quarter ceilings again, and we kind of want to just add them all the way around the building like this, and continue until we meet back up where we started, basically just creating a little circle around it so that we have an overhang on all sides. And whilst we have that, we will add in a few more details, especially if you're building without the bunker cosmetic. So we want to add in a few supports like this, just to make that look a little bit nicer and more supported than without it. You could actually do this with the bunker cosmetic as well, of course. Then we want to take out our railings again, and we want to make sure that this is secured and you don't just fall down up here. So we want to add our railings all the way around. Why did I delete that? It's not what we want. Just try not to misplace, please. All the way around the top here of the tower, just like that. Time to take out your thin pillars. Add 2 on each corner of the tower. That is going to be the support for our roof. We want to take out our ramps and snap them like this. Sometimes having a temporary wall or something can help find the right snap point. And then of course we want to add those new corner ramp pieces in to go around the corner and start to create the shape for this building. And yeah, basically getting a nice little roof on top of this watchtower. So we'll bring this all the way across until we meet back up here. And then of course these 2 in the middle will also be ramps leading up for the next layer of the tower. So we can bring those in everywhere, and then we can place all of the corners around, which of course is going to get that shape pretty far along. And then for the final layer, of course, we just need to go around with our corners until we have the top. And there we go. That is how we built that tower. You know, the nice watchtower overlooking the Raptor pen. But there's still much more work to do. We will start with taking out these half pillars and adding them on top of the metal pillars to make them stand out a little bit more. So make sure to only do it on top of where the metal pillars were placed. There we go. And then of course the main job that we still need to do is the actual pen itself, making sure that we have those nice fortified walls up there. So for the next layer, there's 2 options. If you're building this without skins, or at least without the premium bunker cosmetic, it's rather easy. What you want to do, you want to take out your pillars. You want to raise up these different sections. So just like this, we're basically going to do half to kind of showcase what it would look like. So we'll raise the pillars up like this. Then we want to take out our metal railings again, and we basically want to raise those up to the height of these actual new pillars that we added in. So that is how we're going to then create, yeah, basically the secure cage look without needing any skins. This is one way to do it without needing any skins at all. This is what you would do. There is also a free skin that you could utilize, and then you can do something very similar to the bunker skin way. But this is without needing any skins. You can kind of just fill it in like this with some railings, as you can see. So yeah, all you would need to do is go around filling in those railings. And then on top of this layer, we want to take out our quarter roof pieces. And we want to kind of add a little edge around like this. Just to, you know, get that feeling that that's going to keep the raptors in. But if you're going to use a cosmetic skin, whether that is the Dino Park skin from the Bunker Cosmetics, or you can actually use a free skin, which is the chain link fence, which you could also utilize, maybe a little less secure, but it does also work. You can just use full walls and skin those, but probably we can just go around and fill in these walls like this. For the Dino Park skin, I would actually make this a little bit taller, just because that works very well with those skins. And we will go around like this. Then these little corners in here, that's where we would use some quarter walls to the same height. Then up here, currently there's no corner piece for the ramp in this skin pack. So what we do instead is kind of off-center it. If you're an official, you can just use walls here, because we're going to do some overlapping at the top. You don't want to do that, so just use full walls, just the same as this. And these you're going to skin to the Dino Park skins to make them look really nice. And then of course over here you kind of just repeat the same process. Then on the top, what you do if you're using the Dino Park skins is just adding in a metal ramp, because it actually has a piece that skins to that to look like those overhanging fences to keep the raptors in. And then if you can do some overlapping and clipping, you can add them in right now. Hopefully soon they will have the corner piece. They have it for the roof pieces. Would be nice to see that for those Dino Park fences as well, so you can just use the new corner pieces and make this a lot easier. Also do it on official, etc, etc. So that is kind of how you would build up the fence, but then of course all the way around if you're using the cosmetics instead. Then of course there's some additional details that you want to do. So even here you want to at least add some pillars in the corner, because we will need those extra snap points. And all of these other ones, of course, you can't really use because they're in the middle of a wall now. But over here, we can definitely add the pillars as well, which is going to be great for the snap points that we need. Now, it's actually quite easy if you're going to use the skins, because what you can do then is just fill this in with some ceilings, and all what you're going to do is keep some room over in the middle. So you kind of just go all around, but what I would do is keep like a gap in the middle. You can kind of freeball how big you would want that to be, but maybe just, you know, having 2 of those layers on all the outsides is going to be fine. And then we have still some light coming in. This is going to be skinned to the Dino Park skin as well, so it's going to still be see-through, but it's basically to make sure that the raptors can't jump out of their cage. So it's to get that very safe feeling. And if you're not doing it with the bunker skin, so you don't have those nice options, instead what you want to do is make it out of thin beams. So basically what you'll do is you'll have some beams going across like this. There we go. That's going to be one of them. This one over here we can connect back up to these, because that's kind of the end of the cage, of course, because farther than that is not going to get. We're going to then fill in thin one there, or half one there. And basically what you want to do here in the middle is then go for these snap points. So basically we still kind of want to create that effect, but then it is going to be with these thin pillars. So then you can go around like this. These can go back to the sides. And there we go. And then of course this will connect back to that side as well. You'll need a half beam there to connect back up. And then over here, we can connect this up all the way. So the middle is what you want to keep open. And then for the rest of this, we can kind of just go around and start filling this entire thing in to also create a cage-like effect so that it looks like you're trying to keep the raptors in, basically. And you want to do that for the entirety all the way around. So that's the option for official or without skins, but the bunker cosmetic is a little bit easier, of course. This also means that if you're checking the estimated structure list down below, it might not be complete because it kind of depends on which one of the two ways you're going to go. So the structure list will be for everything without these walls built up, because that is very different for whatever you're building. So it's easier to leave that out, and you'll have to count up those materials separately. So yeah, those are the two ways to build up the cage itself. And then this is what the final results could look like. So you don't need any mods for this. I did use a little bit for decoration. So I've used JV8's landscaping for all of the plants. We have the spotlights from the Bob Talltail DLC up here, as well as up there. Up here I made a little extra platform raised up, just so that it, you know, can shine over the boundaries. But the rest is exactly the same as how we build this. And this is how the full fence will look like if you build it. You can see the opening in the middle. I added an additional beam. So this is kind of what you do for official without any skins necessary, any mods, and you just have a very nice, cool raptor pen here with some raptors roaming around. Yeah, I quite like the way this one turned out. Of course, very iconic from the movie, and even without skins I still think this looks great. But of course, the bunker cosmetics, they really added the exact things that we needed to build something like this. So we have a nice sign over here with the raptor on it. We have another one over there, and of course these amazing fences that look exactly like that paddock. So you have these variations. You actually have bottom parts and then upper parts, even middle parts if you want to make bigger fences. You have these ceilings, which look amazing, of course, very secure indeed. And that just really makes for an amazing feel. But as I said, currently there's no corner pieces, so I kind of had to do this overlapping trick. Hopefully the corner pieces will be added so that it will be a little bit easier to do that. But as you can see with this bunker cosmetic, it looks absolutely amazing. There's a few different tiers. You've got these metal structures, the construction skin in the tier, which looks amazing. Then of course you've got the bunker ones themselves that look amazing, and then they especially have a lot of variation for like little window slits to add as details. You can see these two walls have turned into one big window. You have this as a little bit of detailing for your walls. You have those beautiful big windows in there, so you can really decorate it. And it even has some vine options, some overgrown options for a lot of the skins, if you want to go for a little bit more of an overgrown feeling without needing additional mods for the landscaping. But of course that does help, especially for the inside of the paddock, because as you can see right here, we have also used some JVH landscaping for the plants to get a little bit more of an actual jungly effect in here. And then we have our raptors roaming around in here too, making a very cool little paddock or raptor pen, or any other creature of course that can fit inside. But yeah, definitely I think a fun addition to your base if you like Jurassic Park. And you know, if you like ARK, you probably like Jurassic Park as well, right? So there we go. That is how to build the Jurassic Park Raptor Pen or Raptor Paddock from the movie. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let me know down in the comments below what kind of build you would like to see next, maybe specifically from the Jurassic Park or World movies, and hope to see you around in the next video stream. For now, goodbye.